Hello everybody, welcome back to Pikmin 2. Oh man, alright, it's actually been like kind of a while since I've recorded one of these videos, but I know we left off at about the halfway point, I think. I'm kind of going to save off on this area actually, because this is like the hardest area in the game. It's the last area, and we still have one more to go through actually. We still have the Valley Repose to go through, so we'll go to that. But before we do any of that, I remember this. Back in part 1, I did mention how we were eventually, like at the halfway point, going to look at the Piccolopedia. Because this is a part of the game that I really want to talk about. And I actually read through pretty much everything that's in here right now to prepare for this video. And yeah, there's actually some pretty interesting things in here. I already talked about right now how the dwarf red bulborbs are actually mimicry, and pretty much every single dwarf bulborb is mimicry as well too. The snow ones are mimicry to the snow bulborbs, which we actually somehow haven't seen yet. These guys are mimicry as well too, but dwarf bulbears are actually just like, yeah, if it says it in here, yeah, unlike mature bulbears is yet to claim its own patrol route and thus is dependent on parent for guarding direction. Nowhere in here does it mention that these guys are actually mimicry, so these are the only dwarf bulborbs that are like actually real babies. Like every single of these guys, these are full grown-ass men. Like this is an actual baby. It's the only actual baby. Another interesting one is this one right here, the fiery bulblax right here. I've always kind of questioned like how it actually like stayed, you know, fiery. I just kind of assumed it's like, oh yeah, video game logic, but it actually does a good job of explaining it. Bodily excursions of a highly flammable waxy substance interact with the cell structure, causing a chemical reaction that produces extremely high temperatures. You know, I don't know how like scientifically true that is, but like I do find it pretty interesting that they like took the effort to like actually try to make sense of it, right? It's like they did design it on the basis of just like video game logic. We're just like, oh yeah, enemies are just on fire for no reason. But they did actually try to put like some logic into it, which I do like. Another interesting one here is the bulbmin. This lodocytic creature is in fact a parasitic form of pikmin that has infected a bulborb. The parasitic pikmin are also the reason why the rock and ice pikmin are like, you know, rock and ice pikmin, right? Those things wouldn't exist normally, but they're actually just pretty much parasitic pikmin infecting the rock and ice pikmin, right? I think the theory for the parasitic pikmin right now is that they're the hypothetical orange pikmin that we haven't seen yet, which we do know exists at the end of Pikmin 1. We can see, you know, the orange onion. Another interesting one is all the way down here to the snitch bug guys. Is this guy right here, the careening didgeridoo. It may be best to consider the possibility that somehow wandered into this ecosystem from an entirely alien one. Proof does not exist at this point, but that is how this creature is currently classified. Which is a bit interesting, because when you look at this creature, I mean, it just kind of looks pretty similar to like a snitch bug. Like you would just assume it's like just like a relative of the snitch bug, but it's like, apparently just has like no genetic connection to a snitch bug whatsoever. I mean, it does kind of look very robotic, I guess. Like, it doesn't really kind of look like a normal creature, just able to just spawn bomb rocks out of nowhere, has balloons on the top of its like head and stuff. Like, it kind of looks like a robot, you know? So like, the more I think about it, yeah, this thing actually is very much has like no relation to a snitch bug. The only difference is that they just kind of both fly. Another interesting one down here is the difference between these two wollywogs right here. The yellow wollywog is technically just the normal one, even though it has like yellow in front of its name. It's the normal one. But the wollywog, this one, the reason why they have this sort of colorization and they're like purely like gray or white is that they were once carried underground by current caverns. They exist in a dark habitat, and that's how they got this color. So these ones, as far as I'm aware, are the normal ones. These are the ones that are like outside. These are like the cave dweller, like basement gamers. Oh yeah, another interesting little like line of dialogue in here. Some researchers claim to have observed breadbugs being overwhelmed by massive numbers of pikmin and reduced to food. I would have just assumed that like pikmin don't really like have a desire for food. Like their only real desire is just like bring, you know, like sustenance back to like the onion. And to be honest, I don't really know how that would work given like their designs. None of them really have a mouth except for the blue Pikmin. And probably the most interesting one here actually is the water wraith. All reports contained an extreme amount of vague details, which has led some to believe that fear have caused some simple natural phenomenon to be viewed as a living creature. Pikmin in general has like a lot of these like sort of like mythology type of creatures. Pikmin 3's main boss is based off of like this like Japanese like mythology legend of like a creature at sea or something. I kind of forget what it's called. Yeah, it's like I don't know what the water wraith is based off of like specifically. It probably is based off of something, but that is really interesting that this thing is just like pretty much just a manifestation of fear. It's not actually real, which I kind of don't understand in all honesty. I think this thing is real. It's just more so like it just innately causes fear, right? It also kind of relates pretty similarly to the what's it called, the didgeridoo or whatever it's called. It's the guy that throws bombs. Yeah. So there is like possible a connection between these two, because if this thing comes from like a different, you know, planet, there's a possibility that the water wraith also comes from the same planet, considering how weird it is. You know, wherever this thing comes from, it probably comes from the same place that like this thing comes from, the water wraith, because like, you know, they both have pretty similar descriptions, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to highlight for right now. I mean, there's like a couple other things. I'll check out the treasure hoard probably at another time. I mean, there's definitely some pretty like cool ones in here, but there's 201 of these, and we haven't even discovered like half of the treasures in this game yet, or like barely half. So yeah, you know, it's been a while since I've actually recorded any one of these videos. The last video I made was probably about like 3 weeks ago, maybe even a month by the time you're seeing this video. So it's definitely been a while since I made a last video, but there's a reason for that. I'm not gonna really go into like any like, you know, personal stuff, but you know, done with high school, you know, like glad to be out of there, thank God. But that also kind of messed up a lot of different changes in my schedule and stuff, and for a little while I won't really have too much time to record, in all honesty. You know, I would like to record, and I did make like a promise to myself that like I would try to get a video out every single week, but that's just probably not gonna happen anymore, in all honesty. At least not for like a while. The way my life is going right now, I kind of don't have a lot of time to record videos, because the way I like to record videos, I really only like to record videos when I have like, you know, time by myself alone. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't really have a lot of time by myself alone nowadays. Yeah, and I think like looking at it right now, it's probably been like about like a month since I recorded a video. Actually, the last video I recorded was the Yumi Nikki video, and I recorded that one back in like April. So like, yeah, it's been about a month actually. But you know, eventually, you know, once I do, you know, like get a car and stuff, I probably will be able to record these videos more often actually. The main reason that I can't really record too many videos right now is just because, like, you know, where I'm at usually, I'm not usually in like a correct space to record videos, so that's why. But eventually, like once I get a car and stuff, I will probably, you know, be able to record videos in my car, you know, so by then, you know, we'll be back to, you know, a video per week upload schedule. But until then, it's probably gonna take a little while, I'm not gonna lie. I really don't expect to upload more than like 2 videos over the next like month and a half. I'm just gonna be honest. But other than the recording schedule, you know, I graduated from high school about a week ago actually. From today I've graduated, which is actually kind of nuts actually. I only felt like it was like 3 days ago, in all honesty. Just like in my own personal life, you know, I have kind of felt a lot of pressure from like, you know, school and stuff. Like it feels, you know, like everybody else that I know around me kind of has their whole lives figured out, you know. They're gonna go to like these like big ass schools and stuff, and I'm gonna have to go to community college for a year, which is like, you know, I'm glad to be going to, you know, college and stuff, right? You know, it's better than the high school, but like, I don't know, it feels weird to have to go to like a community college for a year. Again, it mostly is just for money. You know, I just don't have the money right now to go to a 4-year college immediately out of high school. it's just like not in the realm of possibilities for me. I don't know, it does feel like it sucks because like I feel like I am, you know, kind of missing out on a lot of the experiences that I could have gotten from going to a 4-year college immediately. I'm definitely gonna miss out on, like, you know, getting to meet new people for the first year or so, which kind of sucks because like I feel like right after high school when you go to college, it kind of feels like all the new people that you're going to talk to, it's going to be like they're also going to be in the exact same situation you're in, so therefore it's going to be a lot easier to talk to them. I don't know, it just feels like I'm really missing out on, like, you know, getting to interact with people, which, you know, kind of sucks. And like I know at the end of the day, you know, like going to community college for a year, trying to save up money so therefore I can go to a 4-year college, it's not that big of a deal. At the end of the day, it doesn't prevent me from, like, you know, going out and like still talking to people once I get to a 4-year college, right? It's just gonna be a lot harder. Yeah, like I don't know, it does kind of suck as well too, cause like I'm not somebody who is like good at making friends at all. Like most of the friends I have made throughout my life have mostly been like through like other friends introducing me to them. You know, I don't know if this is a controversial opinion at all, but I would much rather go up to a random girl and ask her out than try to go up to somebody and try to get them to be my friend. I feel like that's way, way, way harder. Cause like I can ask a girl out, you know, it's still gonna be like, you know, I guess embarrassing. I don't know what the right word is. It's still gonna be very awkward, and it's like, you know, I'm not good at it at all. I'm not saying I'm like, you know, a ladies' man or anything. I'm fucking suck at asking girls out. But like I'd much rather do that because at the end of the day, it's for like one particular purpose. If you're going to somebody asking them to be your friend off of one interaction, that's kind of not the right way to go, in all honesty. In order to get someone to be your friend, you have to interact with them like multiple times over time, and it's kind of like, it's not something that you can just go up to somebody and just ask them to be your friend. If you do that, you're going to get weird looks because you look fucking weird for doing it. Yeah, but like, if there is like another thing that I've kind of had to realize from both like graduating from high school and like not recording any of these videos for a while, I low-key kind of don't really think I ever have really had like a real friend before. And that sounds very sad, which it is, to say. I mean, don't feel sorry for me. I'm not asking you to be sorry for me. This is more so just me, like, you know, like venting than anything else. Like how I would describe a real friend is like somebody that you can like really go to, and they're like your like consistent like number one option friend, right? Or you are somebody's like number one option friend. Like whenever they want to talk about something, like they can always like go to you, you know? Like I've had like, you know, people who I can talk to before. I've definitely hung out with plenty of people in my life, but I don't really think I've ever had anybody consider me as like their number one option friend, you know? Like at one point I think I was somebody's like number two option friend at a certain point, and you know, we would talk like a lot, but you know, over time, you know, things change, we change as people, and whether or not I think it's for the better or for the worse that they change that way, sometimes they just change, and we aren't really compatible like that anymore. We don't really talk to each other like that anymore. But there's like one like weird thing about these videos in particular, is that like I don't really know what it is, right? This is kind of maybe embarrassing to admit almost, but like almost making and recording these videos, it kind of felt like I was talking to, like, you know, like a real friend, right? Like I was really talking to somebody, right? Like while both editing and recording these videos, it really felt like I was talking to somebody like that was exactly like me, right? Because it was literally just me. And even right now I kind of feel that almost like I'm almost like venting this to like somebody else, even though I know at the end of the day I'm really just talking to a microphone. I'm not really doing anything. I'm not talking to anybody, but it feels comforting in a way. It makes me feel less lonely, I think. Towards the beginning of this year, actually, I kind of had this realization that like I never really had any real friends, right? I've never really been anybody's best friend. I've never had a best friend. And coming to that realization, I mean, it was very sad for a long time, actually. But you know, having made these videos and stuff, you know, it felt very comforting, right? at the end of the day, my only real interactions with people were like at school and stuff. I don't talk to anybody at any of my jobs. Actually, I don't talk to people at work. And at the end of the day, that'd be pretty sad. But going home and be able to record these videos, it felt like talking to like a real friend, which was very comforting during those times. I gotta be honest. It's interesting as well too, because I feel like most of the time when like I've ever interacted with people like outside of school and stuff, it's mostly been at like group hangouts where like there's like 8+ people there. I'm mostly being like invited by somebody who's like a buddy of mine, like not necessarily like like a best friend or anything, or just somebody who like considers me chill enough to go hang out. And like that's pretty cool. Like I always enjoy like group hangouts and stuff. It's probably like where like I'm funniest actually. But like actually hang out with people one-on-one, I'm not gonna lie, I've never really been that good at it, low-key. Like I have just never really been that good at it. Interesting. My metal detectors are reacting violently. I can only conclude that there may be some sort of machine below, but that seems illogical. But you know what? At the end of the day, I don't really feel like too sad about not really having, any real friends. Because at the end of the day, I feel like I am gonna eventually meet somebody who I can consider that. But like, it might take a while. It might take a year. It might take 2 years. It might take 3. Hopefully not much longer. But at the end of the day, I don't view myself as like a loser in the sense that like I'm not deserving of that, but I view myself as somebody who just hasn't had that same opportunity. Sometimes life is just kind of unfair, and that's just kind of how it is. Yeah, a little fun fact about these guys as well too. I'm pretty sure HP wise and everything, this might be the weakest Bulborb in the entirety of the series. You saw right there how I just killed him in like a second and a half. I'm pretty sure from like every single stat factor, he has like the lowest HP, like the lowest everything out of any Bulborb in like any Pikmin game, which is kind of crazy. If there is one thing that they don't really tell you about high school graduation, it's really fucking boring, bro. Like the graduation ceremony is really fucking boring. Like they force you to go to like a rehearsal so you can like rehearse the graduation, even though it's like not really that hard to just do. And then the next day you have to go to the actual ceremony, which is just as long as the rehearsal. And it's like, why even have the rehearsal in the first place? All you're doing is just walking across like a stage, bro. Like it's not that difficult. And there's also like 400+ names to call at the graduation as well too. Like, and it takes so long to get to yours. And then even after you're called, you have to stay, right? You're pretty much forced to stay. I mean, you don't have to stay. You can leave. But at the same time, you're also going to miss out on like saying goodbye to like people that you may not see for the rest of your life. So it's like, okay, like why would you want to go then? Yeah, I mean, it was like a pretty nice feeling, to like walk across that stage, receive my diploma and stuff. It's pretty nice, seeing some people for the last time that I've been pretty much by since like the beginning of my life, bro. It's like kind of, crazy. Alright, so I think we're finally at the part of the game where like it actually starts getting like really tough. Yeah, like look at that. There's like 2 the fucking blowhog guys, and there's 1 more over here. Yeah. Are you gonna... Okay, I was gonna say, there's no way he can reach from all the way over there. See, this is the part of the game where like I start to get like really anxious about using purples because I really don't want to lose them. But at the same time, it's low-key probably the best way to deal with any of this shit. So I'm gonna take 10. Yeah, 10's pretty fine, I think. You're dead. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Ah, fuck. He got stuck on his fucking head. I can't see him, bro. Let me... Okay, there you go. Yeah, dude, I'm still really scared of like one of these guys throwing all my purples off the edge like he did in the last episode, bro. That shit was crazy. I lost like 20 purples from that. Like literally like that. Like if you get a chance where like they don't stun him, because there's like a very slight chance where they don't stun him, bro. If that chance happens, bro, it is just like, dude, it's so scary, bro. He pretty much just kills all your purples. Yeah, low-key, this one wasn't that bad, actually. These haven't been, like, too bad so far for, like, a late-game cave. Oh yeah, I definitely remember this cave. I remember this. Okay. Yeah, bro, another bomb rock, bro. Yeah, it's actually like evil game design, bro. I don't know how 10-year-old me like did not remember this game that much, because like I feel like this would have been really fucking difficult for me to solve. Is that like a poison dweevil over there? And he got bombs, and he got electricity, he got oh my god, bro, it's just this the worst shit possible. Yeah, this is probably like my least favorite enemy in the entire game, bro. I don't know what they're called, I kind of forget, but like these electricity bugs, bro, like these guys are actually the worst in the entire game. They're the most annoying, and they're the most common as well too. And why did two of them just fall down the hole? Nothing happened. I think I talked about this in my last video actually, but I am currently in, or currently was, playing through like the first like 3 Devil May Cry games. Hold on, I'll finish talking about that later. There's this guy. I kind of forgot about this guy's existence, I'm not gonna lie. He pretty much just shoots out just bombs, essentially. Similar to the bull bears, if you don't bring them back the ship in time, they'll like slowly self-revive and they'll come back to life. Like right there. Yeah, the health bar reappears, and look at that. Yeah, he's coming back to life for some reason. They're actually like not that hard to avoid, not gonna lie. It's just more so that like actually dealing with them is like really annoying. See, look at that. I was gone for like 30 seconds and that guy almost like self-revived pretty much. Like if you'd wait like 45 seconds, they self-revive like instantly. It's kind of annoying. But as I was talking about earlier, yeah, I was playing through the first 3 Devil May Cry games for the first time. I think last time I uploaded a video, I was only like I finished the first game and was through the second game. Now I finished all 3 in like the last like month I haven't uploaded a video. I'm not gonna lie, bro, Devil May Cry 2 is like dead ass like one of the worst games of all time. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I have heard people call it one of the worst games of all time for like years now, but like I didn't think I was gonna hate it that much. I really despised it. Like, usually like when, you know, people make sequels, they're not always the greatest, right? But like if they're almost like direct sequels to the original and they're like in like, you know, the same style as the original, they may not be as good, but they'll like at least try to be better than the original. Not be better than the original, but like, you know, innovate on it in new ways, right? Devil May Cry 2 does absolutely fucking none of that. It is terrible. It is literally the first game, but worse, like 10 times worse in every single way possible. It is one of my least favorite games of all time. I deadass fell asleep like going through that fucking second campaign with that one other female character that I can't remember, bro. Like, deadass, I literally almost fell asleep during it. It was that fucking boring. It was so boring. It wasn't even like late either. It was like 9 p.m. when I was going through that game, bro. Like, the only part of the game that like I feel like I actually enjoyed was like towards like the second to last mission, I think. It's when like you get to face like all like the little like, you know, like big demon guys. While the actual combat and like combos of the game aren't very fun at all whatsoever, actually getting an enemy that had like a sizable enough HP to where you can do any semblance of a combo, it actually felt really fun. It was the only time in the entire game, well, not really fun, but it was the only time in the entire game where it actually like, you know, like felt like for the first time, oh shit, this is a Devil May Cry game. Like, deadass, it was that bad. It was terrible. I hated DMC2. But DMC3 on the other hand, that's a video game right there. That is actually an amazing game, bro. DMC3 is like genuinely like a top like 15, top 10 game of all time, bro. Like, I really enjoyed that game. Like, the combat was just so amazing. It was super complex. I really loved it. You know, the level design, the enemies and stuff, you know, even the story was, you know, a lot better than I would say DMC1's story. And like the cutscenes were also like really well animated and like choreographed. Like, it is actually like one of those type of games where I feel like I could like continuously replay it and not really get bored of it. Like, it is just a really, really, really good game. I'm not gonna lie. And a good part about it again too is that like I feel like pretty much every single playstyle in that game is like viable. Like, unlike the first game, I feel like the first game had like a lot of like weapons and stuff that were just like inherently kind of less fun and a lot weaker to use than like other things, but like DMC3 does a really good job of like actually making everything feel viable and feel fun, right? I'd say aesthetically is like the only thing DMC1 does better. I kind of like the way that game sort of looked more. I like the art direction in that game a bit more, but DMC3's art direction is still really strong, I'd say. I'll definitely try to like play through 4 and 5 when I have the time, but for right now though, I think I am like kind of tired of like, you know, playing through the exact same series of games over and over. Oh, it's this guy. It's the what's his name? Machine at Legs, I think is his name. Yeah, it's actually probably one of my favorite bosses in any of the Pikmin games. I just really like this guy. I think he's like has like a really unique concept, and like, you know, it's a pretty like, you know, original idea for a boss. I think I might do that. I might just have this guy just stay like right here. I'm gonna see, is there like any other better spot for this guy to go, or is it just that wall? Yeah, I think it might be just that wall. That's like the best spot he can go to. You're standing right over me, bro. I don't, what are you, this OP? Are you serious? I can't go over there either because, oh my god. Oh my god, I had to lock in for that one, bro. Oh my god. Dude, there's no other spot for me to go, bro. He was following me the entire fucking time. What are we what? Are you serious? You can't reach him? Oh my god. Okay, yo, it might be over. It might be over. Just do not move. Just do not move a single inch right here. Holy fuck. Oh my god. Run. Oh my god, how did nobody die? Just stay completely still. Okay. That might be the method. Hold on. Okay, hold on. This is the method though. This is the method. Oh my god, what the fuck? Yo. Okay, wait. It's not that bad actually. It's really not that bad. You just gotta like run across like every single time and you're good. You fucking dumbass. Get out of there, bro. What are you doing? Oh my god. Yo, this is dangerous, bro. This is a dangerous spot right here. Oh my god, those guys went fucking flying. Okay, let's go. Okay. Yo, that was stressful, bro. I don't know how only 9 died from that. Oh my god. Okay, I got it figured out towards the end right there. But oh my god, bro, that shit was fucking stressful, bro. Oh my god. Okay. Alright. That mechanized monstrosity is no longer functional. An insect and a machine forming a symbiotic relationship. Life forms here are beyond odd. That's definitely not how you're supposed to do it, by the way, but like he went over the area where all my Pikmin are at. I had to get them, bro. They would have all died if I didn't do that. If I combine this glass sphere with the synthetic sun I have been secretly developing, the artificial sunlight it emanates will brighten underground areas. Dude, I am so like surprised I only lost 16? Oh wait, yeah, because I made some blues. I forgot about that. But dude, I'm surprised I came out there with like 91 left, bro. That's crazy. You know, a lot of my timeline on Twitter right now, which I try to like not normally check that much, not gonna lie. I'm trying to like stay off of Twitter. I don't know, it's just like this sort of like conversation between like Europeans and like Americans just making fun of each other, which like, you know, happens like literally like every other week on that fucking app, bro. It's just like the same conversations over and over again. It kind of brought up this thought that, you know, I thought like not too long ago, but like I feel like you can't really judge an entire country just based off of what you see online, I feel like. I don't know, I think that thought kind of originated from a while ago when I saw like somebody, I think they were from the Philippines, talking to like somebody who was, you know, American, and being like, oh yeah, like why did you die? Why? Okay. Anyway, telling somebody who was American, and they were like, oh yeah, like we could like never be like, you know, like compatible or like be friends just because, you know, you're from the United States. And it's like, I get it, right? I bet you that, you know, the relation between the United States and the Philippines is probably not very great. Like people online will like, you know, be like like, oh yeah, because I'm from this country, I can never be friends with you. But then when you hear actual stories of like people from the United States going to those countries, they meet like plenty of very lovely, nice people who are pretty nice to them, and they may like joke about where they come from, but like at the end of the day, they won't really hate them. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's just like, pretty important to, not judge an entire place of people just on like the basis of what you see from them online. Like, again, I'm not saying that sentiment like doesn't exist in the real world at all, but like the chances of coming across people like that, I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty rare. I'm not gonna lie, right? Like, people might joke about where you come from and stuff like that, may poke fun at it, but at the end of the day, they may not really hate you as a person for it. Yeah, so basically, just don't let, people that you see online, even if they do come from that country, kind of, be the only spokesperson for it. Like, don't view that single person as like the entire, like, sentiment of the country. Just kind of view them as one single individual person that is also probably pretty biased because they're online and don't really get out much. So yeah, just kind of think about that, for anybody who hasn't been keeping up with the NBA, I mean, even if you haven't, you probably know at this point that the Spurs are going to the finals in year 3 of Wemby, which is fucking insane. Like, that's actually kind of ridiculous the more and more I think about it. I also saw something today that said that, like, they're like the second youngest team to ever go to the finals by like 0.3 years, which is crazy. For how good of a team that is, bro. Because like, yeah, it's actually kind of ridiculous, bro, because like Wemby had like his first like actually healthy season and they went to the finals. And we still don't know if they're gonna win the finals or not. I mean, I personally have the Knicks in 7, but by the time I upload this video, the finals might even be like over already. Like, the postseason might be done. So we'll see about that. I don't think they'll win the finals, but I think they have a really, really solid shot of doing it. I think it's like 50-50, which is insane for how young of a team that is. Like, it's actually insane. And I was thinking about it too, like, it's going to be so difficult for pretty much any team other than like maybe OKC to come out the Western Conference within like the next like 7 years, bro. Because like, you're gonna have Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle developing already, like even more than they are right now, right? Because like, this is just Dylan Harper's year 1 as well too, and this is Stephon Castle's year 2. Those two players are gonna obviously get better. You have like Carter Bryant, you have like Shampenny, you have like all these like really, really young players on this team. And it kind of got me thinking about my own team, the Grizzlies. I'm kind of like, okay, like we kind of have some stuff that could like, like help us like against the Spurs. Zach Edey has been proven to be a pretty good, defender against Wemby. We're probably gonna draft Cam Boozer in the upcoming draft, and like, having that on like the, the offensive board and stuff, that's gonna help out a lot as well too. Like, we'll have like a pretty damn good roster, like Cedric Howard and stuff. Like, yeah, but we'll have a pretty damn good constructed roster to beat the Spurs. But at the same time, bro, it's also like, we're probably gonna need even more. Like, we're probably gonna need at least like one other like major piece past Cam Boozer if we want to like actually make it out the Western Conference. Yeah, I mean, and we also haven't gone up against the Spurs like this entire season with the fully healthy roster. Plus, we're gonna add Cameron Boozer next year. Like, we'll see how good we are next year with a fully healthy roster and stuff. But like, I don't know, like, even with the fully healthy roster, man, we'll definitely be able to like, give them a good fight, but I don't think we'll be able to like knock them out in like a 7-game series. And it's like, maybe in a way it is possible, maybe it is easier than, we kind of think, because like, Spurs took down OKC. People were kind of thinking for a while now, like, oh, how is anybody gonna ever take down OKC? But then, the Spurs just did it. Maybe it's the exact same thing with the Spurs, where it's like, oh yeah, how is anybody gonna take down San Antonio? But then, somebody does it. And we're like, oh yeah, it's actually like, like not like easy to do, but like, it's possible. We can take them down, right? That also got me thinking about as well too, like, I think the Spurs are gonna be like a really, really hated team come like 2 years from now, bro. Like, they're gonna be despised, bro. Like, because like, first of all, if your team is just like that good, you're gonna be despised because like, you're just gonna be beating people's teams over and over and over again, and you're gonna be like really overpowered and stuff. So like, of course, people are not gonna really like, like grow to like you that much because you're just too OP, right? You know, it's also pretty funny as well too, because like every single like hated super team, oh, there's always like a gimmick to like why people kind of hate them, right? Not just, you know, just because they're good at basketball, right, and they're beating their team over and over and over again, but it's also like there's almost always a gimmick, right? And I think the gimmick with the Spurs is gonna be that they're just like really, they just have like a really annoying fan base, I think. Like even right now they're kind of a little bit annoying, because like I just saw like a Spurs fan on Twitter get mad at like a Knicks fan for choosing their own team to win in the finals. Like that's crazy, bro. Like they took it as like a personal wronging, like you're personally in the wrong for choosing your own team, for believing in your own team to win in the finals. Like they personally took offense to that and said that's a moral wronging that you think that your team's gonna win. Like that's crazy, bro. Like they just started getting glazed for beating OKC, and they're already developing like this. I don't want to say it. I don't like the term victim mentality, but that's the only real term I can describe them as. They kind of just have a victim mentality right now, where they think like everybody's against them, when in reality everybody fucking loves you, bro. At least right now, everybody loves you. So yeah, and also there's like a lot of like really annoying fans that kind of believe Wemby to be like this leftist, revolutionist, communist guy, when all he did was just go to China and take a picture. Like he's not a revolutionist for going to China, bro. Like I'm sorry, bro, but like going to China is not nearly as revolutionist as you think it is, bro. You're just going to a country, right? He's like a multi-millionaire athlete that has like a deal with Nike, I think. Like, dude's not a fucking leftist, right? Or not like a leftist in the sense of like, you know, like a leftist, like big leftist. He's maybe like at most like mildly left-leaning. But he's not like a super huge like leftist type of guy, you know? I don't think anybody that has like a deal with Nike can be like a super like leftist type of guy, because I don't think Wemby fans want to know what exactly, you know, Nike does to make their shoes. I don't think they want to know that. I think that would break their heart. Why is there a cutscene for this? What is this? Processing. How strange. This is the typical metal object came from inside that bizarre being. Appears to be a giant metal hand and perhaps is an ancient work of art. Tap A 3 times to launch it. 1, 2, 3, punch. Wait, what? Wait, what does that do? Hold up, wait. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we don't ever really fight with our fists, I think. So yeah, we'll be good on that. But you know, it's a cool little upgrade. Yeah, but anyways, as I was saying earlier, I kind of just hate that like whole conversation, or really that whole like, you know, like kind of like mentality of just trying to like pretend that these like multi-millionaires are like some secret leftist revolutionaries, because it's like that's just like not true, bro. Because like most of the time, bro, like these guys are just like mildly left-leaning at best, right? I don't think it's a good idea to look for, you know, these multi-millionaires and to like trust and believe in them to be like these like revolutionaries, right? Like they're not going to be, right? They're going to support bad businesses. They're going to support businesses that exploit people, right? Like, you know, I don't get why we just have to, you know, pretend that these guys are just actually like, you know, really good people somehow who are secretly leftist and are trying to like change the world and whatnot. Nah, that's just not the case, bro. It's just not happening. That like if you're actually like trying to like, you know, like improve the world and stuff, I don't think the people who are going to lead that movement should be multi-million-dollar athletes who collab with Nike. Like I just don't think that should be the thing. No, not to say like that they can't like support that stuff, but like I don't think they should be the leaders and everything, right? Like people are think that they should be. Dude, there's like an unnecessary amount of rocks here, bro. Yeah, bro, why? They're not even like directly aimed at like the Pikmin or anything either. They're just there to be annoying, bro. Not gonna lie, these are probably like my least favorite layouts in the game. I'm not gonna lie. Just like the ones that like don't even like have any like really like difficult enemies or anything. They just throw like an unnecessary amount of bombs or like rocks at you, and they're just like not even interesting either. Like this is like a very like boring cave design. Like there's not many corners. It's not like super tight or anything. It's just like very out in the open with very easy enemies to defeat, and the only bit of challenge is just like, oh yeah, there's rocks sometimes. Like, I don't know, that's just kind of like boring game design to me. Like, I don't really find that to be like super interesting in all honesty. I think like a solid like 10% of like the layouts in this game are kind of like this. So that is also a part of the reason why I kind of don't really find these caves to be like nearly as interesting as like other people do, is just because like some of them are just kind of really like basic and boring and just kind of like whatever, like this one. And, you know, I still like the overall caves in this game and stuff, because I feel like having a lot of sublevels kind of makes it feel like more like, you know, like a long journey and commitment to do. But at the same time, a lot of them are also just kind of like this one, which are just like really boring whatever sublevels. They're just kind of like forgettable, I'm not gonna lie. But only like 10% are like this. Like most of them are pretty well designed, except for these ones. Oh yeah, and it eats them instantly. I forgot about that. Can you guys like please stop spawning, bro? Like actually, like please stop spawning. All right, this is the rematch with that annoying fucking pregnant bulborb. I forget the name. It's the rematch with that one, and I really hate this boss, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, so now we're in the best spot possible. Oh my god, dude, these babies are so fucking annoying, bro. Oh yeah, she's gonna run them all over, right? I'm pretty sure she can do that. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. She runs over all the babies. Unfortunately, these guys were way too quick though, and they still got over here somehow. Alright, cool. Okay. Yeah, the hardest part is just getting over here, and then after this point, it should be easy, because like this boss isn't like super difficult though. There we go. Alright, done with it. Alright, yeah, see, that wasn't that bad once we got up here, but the babies are still like really fucking annoying to deal with, I think. Finally done with that. Yeah, dude, that boss just kind of like always just like weirded me out when I was a kid, bro. Like, I don't know why, but like I always just hated that boss. It probably is because of, you know, it's literally giving birth, and like when you kill the babies, it has like a yellow like splatter on the ground effect, which is just like so gross, bro. You will move faster and will no longer be blown away by puffy blowhogs nasally blast. There's still like one more treasure on the surface, and yeah, actually, yeah, that's it. That's like the only other cave left. Now we're gonna go find that one other treasure. And oh yeah, we move a lot faster, bro. Yeah, I feel like that's actually worse, because like when I run straight ahead, like the purples get like really left behind, bro. Like before, you could still like kind of stay by them and like, you know, grab them if you needed to, but like now you can't even do that. That might actually be like a little bit worse, I'm not gonna lie. You know, I found out yesterday that apparently Summer Game Fest is supposed to be happening like this Friday, I think, actually. I kind of forgot that was happening, and I always forget that happens like every single year. Like, it's probably like the most like forgettable like gaming event like ever, basically. Either that one or oh no, actually no, it's not. Gamescom, yeah, that's the worst name of all time. Gamescom, that's like the most forgettable event like ever for anything. Yeah, like I don't know, both of those events are always like so lame, bro. It's just like it's always like the exact same trailers every single time, and there's like maybe like one or two like actually good announcements out of all of them, and the rest of them are just like super forgettable like CGI slop cutscenes that barely show you any fucking gameplay. Like I don't know, I kind of don't like them, low-key. Yeah, like the only like interesting like gaming event still left is like the Game Awards, but even that, like, well, I do probably like it more than most people do. Even that one only has like maybe like a couple games, more than Gamescom and Summer Games Fest, but like maybe only a couple games at best are like actually memorable that get announced, and the rest of it is just kind of like either CGI slop or just like, you know, just like random indie games that just kind of look really fucking boring. Like those are the only type of games that get announced. You know what it really does make me miss, bro? It makes me miss E3, man. I remember E3 so much, bro. Like that event will always have like such like a special place in my heart. Yeah, man, I remember watching E3s as a kid, bro, and I remember like I always really wanted to go to one, man. Like they always look like so much fun, cause like, you know, you could go to the events in person, and like, you know, there was like stands set up around where you could play demos of games and stuff, and you know, it's like a pretty like big hub for like, you know, a lot of like the gaming community. You can meet, you know, like-minded people with the same interests, and it's like, wow, it always looked like so much fun, bro. Like I always really wanted to go to one. Yeah, they shut that shit down though back in like 2019, I think. And like I will always kind of regret just not being able to go to one because it always just looked like so much fun, bro. And plus, like companies always did like really big announcements at E3, at least like during its prime. You know, the only like event that's like still around that's like E3 is I guess the Game Awards, but like that doesn't capture the same vibe, you know. Like first of all, the games being announced are just like nowhere near as like plentiful as like E3, like the actual good games being announced. And like also like while yes you can go to the Game Awards in person, like it just doesn't have like the same like vibe of community that like E3 had, where it was like a bunch of people with like-minded interests like gathering around. No, it's just like a bunch of people just like sitting in an auditorium just like watching awards being announced, or more so game trailers. There's no award ceremonies at the Game Awards, bro. They like skip past like half the awards. Which like, you know, like that's still like, you know, you're still like being around like people that have like-minded interests and stuff, but it's just nowhere near to the same degree as E3 was, and it's nowhere near as long as E3 was. And you can't play demos of games there. It's just like you just go there and you just like react to shitty CGI game trailers. There's like nothing else going on there. The 214 dead so far. Are you kidding? That's actually wild. All right, so Pistons versus Cavs ended off right now, like almost about like 10 minutes ago actually as I'm recording this. I'm gonna start with the Eastern Conference Finals first because that's the easier one. I have the Knicks winning in 5, in all honesty. I think the Knicks have just looked like a dominant team. Like, I'm not even joking. I know people are going to say that the Western Conference Finals is the real finals. Listen, I'm not saying that whoever comes out of that doesn't have a more likely chance to win, but all I'm saying is shit, I could low-key see them winning. Like, I'm being honest. But that's for the future, right? Thunder versus Spurs. I'm going to say it. I'm going to be honest. I have the Thunder winning this in 7. I think it will be very close. That's why I have it in 7. But this is going to be probably one of the best playoff series we'll see in a long fucking time, man. Not going to lie, I don't really think regular season really matters when it comes to playoffs that much. And putting like both these teams like a game 7 series where teams get to actively adjust to, you know, the other team. I think I do have the Thunder winning this in 7, plus playoff experience does kind of matter a little bit to me. Not that much, but it does kind of matter. But if the Spurs do win, I wouldn't be that surprised. But I do have Thunder in 7. Alright, so as I'm recording this right now, Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals just concluded. Oh man, dude, it was a fucking great game. That was an amazing game, bro. That's exactly how I wanted the series to end, man. But San Antonio won in 7. That was probably the toughest prediction I had in the entire playoffs. I predicted Thunder in 7, and they lost. I probably should have seen it coming. But yeah, that was crazy. Add that to my loss board so far. But I did predict the Knicks winning against the Cavs. Although I said in 5, they won in 4. So, like, you know, there's that. But as we see right here, right in front of us, we got this. The championship, Spurs versus Knicks. Okay. It's a rematch of the NBA Cup, which is kind of funny. But, man, this might be even tougher than my Thunder Spurs prediction. Because while I did expect the Knicks to beat the Cavs in like 5 or 4 games, I didn't think they would do it in such a convincing manner. I'm going to say it. I think this series could go to 7, and it will go to 7, I think. I think it is going to be the Knicks in 7. That's just what I'm predicting right now. I think that, like, this team is just so great, like, on both sides of the ball, and I think they're also a lot more consistent as well, too. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Knicks win in 7, I think. I just think that, like, the matchup is just in the Knicks' favor, and I also think they're, like, a way better team than most people think, so I just have them winning in 7. Alright, so this is a bit of a review for all my predictions for the entirety of the postseason, basically. Just going to count up what I got wrong, what I got right, and try to, like, you know, even the numbers out and, like, point anything out that's, like, pretty interesting. For the play-in, I predicted Clippers, Suns, Hornets. Only the Suns and Sixers got out of there. Those are the only 2 that I predicted correctly. But I did predict the Suns would face against the Spurs, which did not happen. Although I did predict Sixers would go against Boston. So round one, these ones right here, these first three are series that I predicted the play-in team that they would face wrong, like Thunder versus Clippers, Spurs versus Suns, Pistons versus Hornets. Like even though I did predict who would win in these series, I did predict the play-in team that they would face wrong, so I'll be just automatically disqualifying them, even though I did predict the winner right for all three of these. Now, I will say this is also the basis of like who I predicted would win because the in number something that doesn't really matter. It's just like something interesting. So I got Cavs Raptors right. I got Knicks Hawks right. Celtics Sixers right. Celtics and four. The exact opposite happened. That's probably the most wrong series of the entire playoffs. I think. Wolves versus Nuggets. Lakers versus Rockets. I still am pretty happy that I got both these upsets correct. So for round two, I got pretty much every single one of these right. I predicted all these would be in six. The only one that actually went to six is Spurs versus Wolves. And this is the only one I got completely entirely correct. I predicted who would win, and I predicted in how many games they would win. This is the only one I got correct off of that. Conference Finals, Knicks versus Cavs, Knicks in five. Knicks did win. Thunder versus Spurs, Thunder in seven, which I got wrong. And then for the finals, I predicted Knicks versus Spurs, Knicks in seven, and I got the Knicks right, so yeah. Now, I did predict that the Thunder Spurs series would go in seven, so I'll give myself credit on that, but I won't be counting that really. It's just like something interesting. All right, so the general predictions, who wins the series minus the ones that got disqualified because of the play-in team, I got 13 out of 19, 68%. If you do want to include that, though, I got 16 out of 19, I got 84% correct. Not gonna lie, I think I am pretty proud of myself. I predicted most things correctly, even though, I only got one series fully correct, but like, I predicted the general winner correctly pretty much every single time. And I got a lot of upsets in here too, so I'm actually pretty damn happy with how this turned out.